You ready to do this thing?
Oh yeah!
Let's get into it.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Sweaty Casuals, podcast brought to you by the Snowflake Sanctuary Discord server. This is the podcast where we like to talk about the games we love to play, from the state of rank systems to our thoughts and to our thoughts on the newest sensations and everything in between. My name is Zach. Here's my co-host Knox and my co-host Tyler.
Yeah.
And we're going to be your guides as we traverse Elo Hell.
A little rusty there from the break.
Yeah, just a little bit. Definitely not from lack of sleep. Our icebreaker for today. We came up with this topic idea not too long ago, but I'm going to preface it by saying we're not experts in AI. None of us are programmers by trade. Two of us do it as a hobby, but we have a small inkling about what the hell's going on. So let's...
Here's a clue.
start.
I'm not one of the two.
Sorry, Knox. But I thought our best way to get into our icebreaker, because I do know we all have some experience, is what's our experience with AI?
D&D game creation. God, it's been so great.
ChatGPT?
ChatGPT all the way. Like working on this whole like Jujutsu Kaisen Fate RPG game. Wow, that's a mouthful. I've never said it out loud before. It's been nice because I have no idea how that game works, and so you could just like type into chat and be like, yo, what you know about Fate RPG? And it's like, here are the basic game rules. I'm like, all right, how would you adapt this concept to that rule set? And then it gave me like a whole list of rules, and then I was like, all right, give me like a player handbook. And so now I have a whole player handbook written, and I've like, you just edit. That's all you do. Is it spits out things and you go, I don't like that, take that out, let's add this.
You were playing with the photo generation too for a little bit, weren't you?
Mm-hmm.
Which one were you using for that?
I have gone back and forth. So far, the one Mid-Journey has gotten a lot better since they moved to a web UI. So that's nice. Also, the ability to drag in photos and use as reference is kind of huge.
Mm-hmm.
So that's nice too.
What's the other one that you've been using?
You know, I don't know.
Is it the
'Cause I
other
use-
big one? The name I can't remember right now?
For
I use
character
Dolly a
generation?
little bit.
No, for image generation.
Yeah, Dolly will do image
Yeah,
generation.
that's what it is.
Yeah.
I know when I've dabbled in making characters, and I've needed like reference photos, it's actually it's a real shitty looking website, but perchance.org.
Perchance.
I've
haven't
played
heard of that
around
one.
on a lot. It's very, very limited in my experience. It's completely free. It, like I said, looks like shit, but has gotten me some decent character photos.
I know Caramel uses like the Bing AI generation sometimes. That's forgot the word. Yielded her some pretty good results. Huzzah, I remembered the word.
We're all professional hosts here. Knox, I know you got some experience with ChatGPT as well.
ChatGPT has helped me through college.
It's helped you get
Not in a
that
bad way.
3.0.
No. I don't use it in a way of like it writes my papers for me, but especially in classes, like I'm getting my master's right now in business. And I really struggle in finance and econ classes, which is
Mhm.
funny because that's like half the master's degree. But I was a comm major in my undergrad, so I don't know what anyone expected, but I use it to help me run equations, help me check work, make sure I'm on the right track. I know in my undergrad I was in a research class, and I was basically designing my entire study that I would run if I had funds, essentially. But I had to do a whole prospectus assignment and write like as much of the academic paper as I could without actually running the study. And to come up with ways to run my study, I use ChatGPT pretty often to put ideas into it and get sample questions for my survey and things like that. I've also used it in a very fun way. When I do PowerPoint nights in the Discord, I will use it for image generation. I did splurge and promptly bought a month of ChatGPT, like the paid version, and then canceled it. So I had my month. And I was able to get some pretty funny photos for my PowerPoints. So, more in the academic and school side, I've used AI. It also writes some of my emails, I won't lie. My professional work emails, if I'm not sure how to do it, I'll just type in, can you write me a professional email about blank?
There's
And I'll
nothing
steal some of it
professional about my
sometimes.
emails. If you come at me sideways via Gmail, I keep that thing on me. I'll just say that.
Sometimes I have to address a large group of people, and I want to make sure that I'm sounding professional and I'm hitting the right verbiage. So I'll use it there.
Luckily, on this podcast, we're just casual.
Funny.
We friends though.
Anyway.
My experience with AI has been a lot of bit of ChatGPT. I tried to get early on that train. Knox, did I introduce you to ChatGPT?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was while I was writing my perspectives paper.
Yeah. Tried to get in on that and at least get a good understanding of what was going on, because especially when it kind of hit the market, it was like publicly available. It was like, oh wow, this is powerful. It does some really cool stuff.
Oh my god,
but
the
I've
waves
also
that it made in academia were insane immediately.
oh yeah, and
The
it's
amount of
going to continue
ethical
to.
conversations it sparked in classes about how to use it ethically. Should we even be able to use it? Like,
Yeah,
more insane.
I think we'll touch on that, but we probably won't go too deep into it.
No reason to.
I find it interesting that we have created something such as Chat AI, and we are teaching ourselves about it still to this day. Like, one new thing I heard is Chat GPT's main focus, or its main rule, is to give you the easiest answer possible. So when you ask it to do something, Zach, I don't know if I've talked about this. Knox has probably heard this rant. But if you ask it to do something like generate an image that's really difficult to generate, its easiest answer is to tell you, no, I can't do that. Therefore, you should demand that it generate the image. And people have even gone as far as to say, we'll help with that.
We're not going to go down that.
I'm not saying
I do know
I
that
do it.
you can push it.
AI is coming for us. We have to convince a computer to do something. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I will say that in my experience since learning that, not threatening it but demanding it to give me results has yielded better results than just asking it to do something, which I find interesting that that's something that like we had to learn.
Can't wait until it becomes sentient. Oh Lord.
Can't wait.
Just to wrap up my experience with it, the other thing is I've had my finger on the pulse with a lot of the image generation and the video generation in particular, and some of the tools that are coming out, like content aware fill that's available now in Photoshop and After Effects. These are things that are coming for my job, so I need to be aware of them.
We Discord now has a plugin that will do AI videos based off of an image. I used it the other day.
Really?
It did not yield even close to the results I was expecting.
I will say that has been one of my big experiences with it.
My buddy sent me an AI generated image of like a bison with a firefighter helmet. And he was like, "Hey, do you know of any way to animate this to make it look like it's alive and moving?" And so I was like, I could mess around. I don't really have any experience with that. And so then I was just messing around in Discord because I saw this cool little like shapes icon over the image, and I clicked on it. And one of them was animate the video. And so I was just like, make it look alive. And it proceeded to make the bison a human person and then do a TikTok dance with the caption, me after seeing myself after a different character doing this dance. And
Well.
Oh, Lord.
I was like, I sent it to my buddy and I go, there you go. That's what you wanted, right? I made it alive. And he was like, what the fuck is this? I was like, it's the bison. He's like, I thought it was a monkey. It's great. AI is perfect. Don't change it.
So I guess to kind of get us into the topic more, where there's one big aspect that I think AI is already being used for in video games,
Mhm.
which is DLSS. Which Taco, have you played with it?
A little bit. I know there's got to be some AI shit going on behind the whole ray tracing and stuff like that.
Can we get an
Well-
acronym dump, please?
Sure. DLSS stands for crap. What the hell does it? Something super sampling.
Is it
Deep
dynamic
learning
light?
super sampling.
Oh, deep learning. That's what
Can
it
we
is.
get a definition dump, please?
So deep learning is it's machine learning. It's basically you hand the computer a problem and you say, "Hey, figure this out," and it goes through it 1,000 times and it says, and you kind of compares it to a sample that you've given it and it says, "Okay, well, 999 of my attempts were shit, but this one kind of worked." So then it takes that and it does iterations of that, and of those ones it says, "Well, these 3 worked better." So I'm going to take those and I'll run iterations on those, and you keep running that over and over and over again, and eventually you end up with a program that runs that ultimately does the task that you want it to do.
Hmm.
Super
Thank you.
sampling is upresing. So what DLSS basically does on your graphics card on NVIDIA cards is, instead of rendering out, if you have a 4K monitor and you want to look at a 4K image, instead of rendering out a 4K image, it'll render out a 1440p frame, and then it'll use DLSS to upscale it to 4K.
It basically just looks at that one pixel and then guesses the other 3 that should be around it.
Basically.
Yeah.
And it's pretty good. Like it's
decent.
It had its downfalls initially, but like everything
Mhm.
I've seen from it as of the last year and a half, 2 years, has been pretty darn good since it came out.
I mean, I've always been suspicious of stuff like that. Like when the whole ray tracing, I remember when when it started blowing up and people were talking about it, they're like, we could never see this because computing would never get to a point where we could actually do like real time ray tracing. And then like 2 years later, Nvidia was like, here's the new 20 series card, and everyone was like, what do you mean RTX?
And then there was no games to play with ray tracing.
Yeah,
we should do a whole episode on ray tracing, because that is like a fascinating technology.
And the ones that did were games like Cyberpunk.
Honestly, Minecraft,
not bad.
Nox, have you seen any pictures of it?
Flopped.
Go look up Minecraft RTX real quick.
I
Oh, yeah.
use RTX shaders or ones that mimic it using DLSS and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
When we play, because I can't live without it. I'll be so real with you.
Bringing up DLSS though, that seems to be like, that's the one thing that like AI is already in video games to a degree. If your game supports DLSS, that is an AI type thing. What other things could we use AI for? I can think of a few, but I want to kind of open it up to you guys first.
The first one that comes to my mind is just story writing. Like just using ChatGPT to flesh out a character or come up with, random BS to world generation and stuff like that. The other thing I can think of is like checking code and stuff like that.
Yep.
ChatGPT seems to be doing that pretty well.
That one's an iffy one,
Mm-hmm.
It seems like ChatGPT has a really good understanding of what code is supposed to do. It doesn't have a good idea of debugging.
Fair. I mean, even
The
if you use it in the reverse,
Mm-hmm.
you know, have a human debug it, it still takes you leaps ahead of where you would be if you had somebody design the
Depends.
code
Some
and
of the
then debug it.
experiences I've heard from people like Pirate Software has been the amount of time it takes to debug ChatGPT's code right now is not always worthwhile.
It'll get there. If there's
It will
anything that
get there
humanity has taught us, is we will prevail.
for sure.
We always do.
Sorry, Knox.
No, it's okay. My only thought is, in terms of video games, I think on the more creative side, I don't, like I said, I don't know much about how it can help in code and the technology side of it. But kind of piggybacking off of Tyler's like character creation, I mean, I love games that give you a sense of choice or a
Mhm.
sense of different timelines to follow. So think Until Dawn, Detroit Become Human, Baldur's Gate. So using AI to enhance those stories to, yes, it's choice based, but also you can have a bit of how your character has acted can influence how other people, like it's not just your choices that do it, but other actions you make in the game can influence that AI.
Mhm.
And even have a bit of randomness to it. Because in Baldur's Gate, like, yes, like that's just a web. Like that's just a created sense of webs. I wouldn't say there's AI included in that, but how
It's
could
just
No.
you
a
incorporate?
web big enough to make you
Yeah,
feel like,
to make it feel like a bit of randomness, to make it feel like you have a ton of options, but like you can force certain things by picking certain things. Like that's the whole thing. When we were
Mhm.
doing our honor run, we were looking up dialogue options to make sure we were picking the right ones to get certain options later to
Mhm.
help us win the game. But if you have AI running it, you can have that sense of randomness where maybe every time you do play, there is something new.
is that going to take the fun out of the enjoyment of completing it?
Not not if I think if you have the right expectations going into it.
It's fair. Like if you
I
were
think it
doing
depends
your
on the
honor
game.
run again and all the choices were AI generated.
I think you'd have. I think it would be far more difficult, and
Mm-hmm.
if you put it directly into Baldur's Gate specifically. Especially, I think achievement hunting would get really hard if you introduce that to Baldur's Gate. But I think if you introduce a game where that's the primary mechanic of it, I think there's a different set of expectations for what you're getting. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah. Like
I think
rewards and
introducing
stuff.
it into any current game would be really difficult, especially with a game like Baldur's Gate that has such a community where there's a set amount of, I would call, like milestones
Mm-hmm.
or medals to put around your neck when you're playing that game,
Mhm.
that I think that would infuriate some of the current fan base to introduce something like that. I think a DLC would be kind of fun if technology was at that point. But I also think that in my head, as far as I know, which obviously is not much, not something super possible yet. Like I feel like there is an amount of coding that isn't around to like fully impact a animated video game. Like choices, yes. Dialogue for sure.
Takes me back to the days of when Ubisoft thought it'd be a good idea to run an RNG wiggle program on the scopes in Rainbow Six Siege. I don't know who the fuck thought that was a great idea, but I remember all the times because it didn't matter. The barrel stayed in the same spot. The crosshair moved. So you could be dead center and shooting far left because a random number generator said you were. Great, great. Makes it feel more realistic. But fuck you when you're trying to make a competitive
Uh,
game.
I think too, like there's an amount of games with like mechanical skill like that where like you just
Mm-hmm.
don't fuck with it
Yep.
at all.
Fortnite was like
But
that too. I felt like a lot of kids had dumb luck, and the damage in that for the longest time was RNG. That's insane to me that you can have a shooter with randomly generated numbers for damage.
Some games thrive off of
yeah.
RNG, and some just don't.
And some people just
I,
weren't born to make easy money.
true. Generally, I would say FPS games are not inclined to want RNG. I think probably the exception to that would be your looter shooter, Destiny, Borderlands type games. Like,
Lots of wasted.
at
That's a lie.
some point we'll do a Destiny episode.
No, we won't.
Yeah, we should. We should. I mean, it's they're. Is it the middle of the last season right now?
I have no idea.
I
Refuse.
don't know if it's the
Anytime I
middle or
get,
towards the end.
anytime I start talking about Destiny 2, I get drawn back into it, and then I blink, and it's the next year.
I think we should though, because I think whatever Bungie does next at this point is going to be.
Oh,
drawn out
that's
that.
right. Because I talked about that last season where we were talking about how Activision was saving the community by holding back Bungie.
Which is a whole nother topic.
Yeah, that's right. Put that on the list.
Yeah. I would agree though. I think games like things in the realm of like Baldur's Gate, where you do have these like big branching, like all of these different options. Something like ChatGPT integrated into it could be really, really fascinating. I don't think it would actually help with creation. I don't think it should be used in creation.
But
That's
like,
fair. If I'm paying
imagine-
$70 for a game, it better not be.
Especially
I better
if
be
you're
eating
paying $70 for a
artwork.
game. Yeah.
Yeah.
imagine if you play Baldur's Gate and instead of getting pre-written responses,
Well, that's what I'm
you
saying
get
is
to
you give
write your own.
you get ChatGPT to be like,
Huh?
okay, here's a whole. Well, so you say to ChatGPT, I'm giving you a character model. This is the character's backstory. This is what they do. This is their history. This is how they speak, and then it is able to use that in a natural language UI model and give dialogue.
Well, I
options.
even imagine, like in Baldur's Gate, for example, one of the things that can impact your story right from the beginning is what character you pick and what race you are.
Yeah.
For example, Drows, I believe it's the goblins can be quite what you would consider racist towards Drow, or
Mhm.
no, they worship Drow. There's someone that's like
Dwarves are really racist towards elves.
so sure. That can impact certain conversations, but not others. Whereas if you have ChatGPT, where every character you go up and talk to knows that about you and can react off of that, like that could get even more deeper and interesting based on your character selection. But I mean, even if it's looking for buzzwords or hot words, or it's looking for certain things to trigger other things like that, I think that would be to design a game where it truly is pick your own adventure because you're the one determining everything about you. And how you interact with the world, I think would be so cool because you would have an infinite amount. I mean, there would have to, it's still a video game. There's still some overarching plot that you're following. So it's figuring out how to give the true freedom of choice and the true freedom of saying whatever you want to an extent. While also limiting that to still push the story along. Like there's a lot of like, you're introducing an infinite amount of more variables to something, but you're also introducing a program, an AI, that if it keeps developing is going to be equipped to handle those variables. So I think it'd be interesting to someday get there.
I
think it's interesting that you choose that example because I feel like that's also like that's the slippery slope part of it.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say even on that is like the voice actors and stuff like that completely could change their careers. Like Apple has a feature for people that are like vocally impaired and stuff like that, or you know that you're gonna lose your voice, or you can't, or you know you're not gonna be able to speak. Like I did it and set it up, but it basically you sit down and you read 150 different phrases that Apple has come up with, and then for like 2 days, I think it took, the AI in Apple basically took all the phrases and then created an artificial voice of mine. And it's pretty accurate because I'm not gonna lie, there's sometimes where I be answering calls and I just don't want to talk, and I just dictate with the keyboard, and then my voice is projected over the phone call.
Steve Jobs' ghost is doing well.
Just remember though, Apple said they don't have AI. Apple doesn't use AI. They use
Apple
AI, but it's Apple intelligence.
Great.
No AI
bullshit
around
on
here.
that part.
Good.
I mean, I see why they did it. Is because they don't want to put their name to anything that may fail.
Or anything that may
and
be used
AI
maliciously.
That it's just like AI is so new that
it's a scary tool.
You don't want to be on that list of people
Companies
that
that pushed
failed
it
to
in the
use it.
wrong direction. Yeah.
Right. So they're
Right.
coming up with their own thing, and if AI fails, they can go, "That wasn't us. We used Apple Intelligence. It was our own artificial system that we
Powered
came
by
up with."
ChatGPT.
Even though Siri is going to use ChatGPT with the next
Mhm.
update to generate images directly for you.
Is she really?
Yep.
Yeah.
iPhone 15 and 16. Anything
Is
that
that
comes
an
with that little AI
iOS
chip.
update? Oh, it has to be a certain phone.
It's the 15 and up running iOS 18 will have the artificial intelligence module
Oh,
for
good.
Siri.
I'm due for a new phone soon. Can't wait to have that.
That's what I was saying. It's pretty cool though. Like I've seen,
It's
we'll get
scary.
into
It
it
all
later. That's
scares
not
me.
gaming.
It all scares me.
It is a little scary, and I'm not going to go into it because I'm definitely a bit doom and gloom on the is our
Oh
world prepared for
no,
AI?
no.
No. No. No one
I do
is.
think that there's some really cool ways that it could be done with dialogue, but I think Tyler's got probably the best point on it, which is like voice actors deserve to have a job.
Well, not even that. It's just like I'm not saying that it would even take them away. I'm just
It would heavily
picturing
alter
being
how they do their jobs, though.
yeah. I'm picturing being a voice actor and getting in a booth and just having to read 150 phrases and they go, "Cool, you're done. We don't need you anymore."
Yeah.
You still get paid the same at that point, too?
Right.
Like,
But
But
one of the things that I think AI has yet to capture fully, and I don't see this happening anytime soon, is getting great inflections on script reading.
that's the
Like
thing.
there's
That's
so much between like when you pause and how you pause,
oh,
and
yeah.
this is more
yeah.
breathy, and it really does impact a really well told story.
Yeah. I
So
will
like
say
just as an example from our Titanfall episode,
mhm.
when BT takes you out of the cockpit and tosses you out of the Ark, that panic in Cooper's voice, an AI doesn't have the ability to do that right off the bat in any way, shape, or form right now.
I don't
And it's
know
the type of thing
cuz
that I think just
the
drives it in.
Apple
Well,
AI gets my inflections pretty well just based off reading phrases. And so I think you could train it in a way where you have like subcategories. And so if you're a voice actor, you come in, you read, 150 phrases scared, 150 phrases angry, 150 phrases neutral, and stuff like that. That's a lot of work, a lot of
yeah.
boring work. But you could train an AI model to be like, okay, at this point, you would react this certain way. And then, you know, invoke
Sure.
and like, you know, different voice. What do you call? What would we call it? My
Sound
big brain is
bits,
turned off.
sentences,
Yeah,
Dialogue.
dialogue.
yeah, just
But
dialogue. So like the inflection in your voice and stuff.
yeah, I think the part that I'm agreeing with Zach on is especially in like once again, I'm just gonna keep going off of my AI Baldur's Gate example.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
If
It's a good example.
you as the input essentially gives it a phrase, it doesn't know. Like yes, you could have voice actors read all of those things, but it doesn't know what you the user is thinking. So I
Right.
Yeah.
think that's always going to be something that's hard until you can get to a point where you're literally speaking
Yeah, and
with
then at
it
that point, you're just teaching the AI
to listen for
not.
my inflection.
Yep, and listen to what you're saying.
It's almost like in an intro to a game, you'd almost have to do the 50 phrases yourself.
We just need
Read
Jarvis.
this angry, read this sad,
Yeah.
read this and this, so that it can start learning your own inflection so it knows what it's listening for in your voice, which I think would be really interesting and scary
Mm-hmm.
because you're teaching it and it's learning in the moment of what to look out for. This is the shit, like, this is the Matrix shit that I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Like, oh no. Oh god, we're all
We're
gonna have.
getting there.
Y'all seen Ready Player One. We're getting
We
Mhm.
there.
want
We're
want to
getting
take the blue
there.
pill.
We're getting to Ready Player One. We're all gonna live with headsets. It's never gonna end.
It's different world. Different world. Zach, did you have
Yeah, but
anything?
Ready Player One, I can be a Gundam who jumps out of Serenity.
That's true.
That sounds pretty
Okay.
awesome.
Okay, take away everything fun about that movie and remember the general actual
Gonna go live in the stacks.
problems that they're facing as a society.
Surprised you said the movie.
The slavery of gamers.
Ready Player One?
It's based on a book.
It sure is. I've read about 200 pages of it. It's up there somewhere. Where is it?
It's on
Yeah.
my TBR.
Yeah, up in the you can act. It's actually on camera. Here, I'll give you a little tour. Give me a second. I promise I'm not a fake fan. Promise.
It's okay. Spielberg would be proud. There
Both
it
of
is.
them.
I can read the cover.
There you have it, chat.
Covers. Yeah, Ready Player 2.
But she hasn't read it.
No.
Our
Okay.
TBRs are quite long.
Dude, I've been in such a slump. Anyway,
I've been trying to work through mine.
ignore me for
Any other like last thoughts on voices? Because I have one other interesting one.
Nope. Go for
No?
it.
Knox?
Nah, I think I've exhausted my knowledge.
The other one that I think would be is going to be really, really interesting is going to be like AI generated terrain.
Ooh,
Mm.
that'd be fun. I left
Did
my
you,
Pepsi over there.
Now, since you have mentioned it, now I'm kind of curious. Did you happen to catch the corridor video on the size of Minecraft?
I did.
Impressive.
Which is a cool video. It's a really cool video.
Yeah.
Knox, have you heard of this?
I have not actually. That sounds super interesting.
Okay, so
Oh.
Corridor Digital is we talked about it on Real World a couple
They
episodes
referenced them. They referenced them in fucking Fall Guy. I'm so happy for them. There's no one else it could be, and you can't change my mind.
They've made a couple of videos though where they're talking about scale and they use their graphics prowess to kind of show you what it's like. And this newest one was like going through like all these individual things in Minecraft, and it starts with how big is a block actually, and it's like a block is big. Block's really big.
Like you don't realize the side of a cubic meter.
Yeah. And
It's
then
big.
it kind of goes up from there, and it's like, well, let's talk about some mobs and let's talk about the
Is it like
build height and how
like
big the world is.
Yeah.
scale to the real world or
No.
Yeah.
scale
Well,
to it around
yeah,
it?
kind of. Like
Like when you're
starts
talking about a
like,
metric foot or a metric yard, like that's like referencing
Meter.
like a real world meter.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So he starts.
We
getting
are
into-
in the U.S. We use the imperial system.
So
Hey, here with your
SI
meters.
says otherwise.
he eventually gets so like the distance becomes so big he has to start talking in the term of light years. Just talking about like the distance from one border of the world to another border of the world. Of a
Minecraft's
single Minecraft
world generation is huge.
is like 20. It's like he said it was what
Is there an edge to Minecraft?
There is.
Yes.
It's
How do you-
millions of blocks out.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. And they have changed it now because it used to go indefinitely, and you would eventually get to a point where the 32-bit coding couldn't process the rendering of blocks anymore, and so like what do they call that? The outer
The Farlands?
yeah.
Yeah.
Knox, look up a picture of the Farlands. Zach, throw up a picture of Farlands if people don't know about it.
Shout out to Post Zach.
Yeah. Doing too much.
Yeah. The Farlands
not-
are
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Like the
that's what
world
happens when
generation
they
just kind of goes crazy.
Yeah, it just is like it can't compute, and so it kind of reaches a factor of null.
I think Minecraft though is actually like a perfect example because like Minecraft's world generation is actually pretty darn good.
It's fantastic. It uses
All considering it,
fractal.
they have done a
Ooh.
phenomenal job with it.
The end Farlands is kind of funky.
Yeah,
Yeah.
where it gets stripy.
Yep.
So what do you
I'm
do?
sorry.
Do you just hit a wall and it's like you can't
Yeah,
move
so-
anymore?
When like Minecraft Hunger Games became really big,
Yeah.
they added a new feature called a world barrier, and basically you'll just hit that, which is just a big like clear and blue striped wall. And you the
Oh,
player
oh,
can't go
I've
any
seen
further.
that. I didn't realize that was something in the actual vanilla game. I've seen that in
Yeah.
the
So
millions of Minecraft challenges that YouTube has fed me, where someone starts on like a 3x3 walled in area,
yeah.
and it gets bigger
slowly
every.
expands.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And every world has one, even the Nether, and it's
Mhm.
the exact same. It's the same integer value.
Wouldn't the
As
Nether
the
be
overworld.
smaller technically though?
Nope.
Because isn't the Nether
You
smaller?
would think it would be an eighth of the size because every block traveled in the Nether
Yeah.
is 8 blocks in the overworld, but it is the exact same number as the overworld.
So what happens just mathematically then when you start to put a
You
Nether portal at the edge of the world, and then
That
you
is a
go
very good
16
question.
blocks in, and then you put another Nether portal,
I'm
then you
sure somebody has
go
tested this. I'm not sure of the answer.
16 more blocks, and you put another Nether portal because the math stops mathing after a while.
Mm-hmm.
I have to
It's
almost
gotta
wonder if
have
it
it's
loops
gotta have
back.
a set point. Like it's gotta have one
Yeah,
true
it will
point,
probably
right?
put you at the edge of the overworld.
Or that.
No. I mean doing it in the overworld. Would it
Well,
all just spawn at the same Nether portal?
you
for
mean
a
like
while?
traveling to the edge of the overworld and then going into the Nether from there?
Yeah,
if
the
that's
math
the
ain't
case, you
math
would
in here
just be like
somewhere.
You would just be like an eighth. Yeah, I know. The
Because
math
if
ain't mathin', but it do math.
because at some point, now hear me out. Hear me out. This might have to get cut in post because I'm about to go on a fucking journey here. If you have one point, and this is where both the overworld and the Nether meet, is the true
Mhm.
middle point.
Mm-hmm.
And you said every 1 block in Nether is 8 blocks in the overworld.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go here and 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 you go here, well, in the overworld you're already over here. In the Nether you've moved 3 blocks, right?
Mhm.
But if it's the same amount of blocks under here and there's a barrier up here somewhere, this is going to have to stop and this is going to keep going.
Yeah.
So what happens when
right.
you start putting Nether portals up here at if you're over here but the border is here? You know what I'm like
That's what I'm saying. I think
Mm.
once you pass that, it just knocks you back.
I don't like
Either
it.
that
Yeah,
or
I-
you get teleported outside of the world barrier. And
Oh,
you
you're
just
right.
take
It
damage
would
and
be the
die.
It would be the portals that you make in the Nether that would cause the problems.
Mhm.
Yeah. You're right.
Yeah.
My understanding of computers and how computing works is either A, somebody has thought of that and said, we're just going to push you to the world border. Like, just every portal after a certain point is going to get you there. Or
Yeah.
it's going to overflow and it'll reset. So once you get an eighth of a way to the world border, once you go a little bit past that, it'll reset back to 0
I have a new project
to your
idea.
spawn.
Yeah.
So, like, I
Let's
forget how
make
long it takes to
castle
walk.
gates on the world border.
Oh, God.
The entire thing.
You know, speaking
Has a
of
castle
Minecraft,
gate.
real quick, I just wanted
Not
to
flush with
throw
the
this out
ground. We can
there.
go over out mountains and go break bridges. Oh my god.
Big news in the Minecraft community. The
Uh-oh.
mob vote is over.
There was another one and I missed it? No.
They're not doing it anymore.
Oh, I wonder why. It doesn't fucking
They
matter.
finally listened to the community and they were just like, you know what?
You're
We're
so
holding
right.
back our
We
game."
haven't cared.
Yeah, they're like, we're holding back our game by doing the mob vote, so we are getting rid of it.
Excellent.
They're not holding back their game by having the mob vote. They're holding back their game because they're offering us things that they don't want to supply.
Well, that and the fact
Don't
that it's
even
like
tease
the other two
us.
that don't win will never get added. So they are holding back their game by doing
Well, that's
that.
a stupid rule that they set up. They should just get
I
rid of
know,
that
I
rule.
agree.
Put the tough
I
golem in.
agree.
Please, if
Fix
we
this shit.
if you just took out the simple fucking self-imposed rule that you put on it however many goddamn years ago, we'd have you are back. You are ruining the game, Mojang.
Mm-hmm.
It's not Mojang anymore.
It is still Mojang. It's
Yeah,
just they're owned by Microsoft.
Microsoft. Who's their CEO? I need to start harping on them. I've got problems.
Not Notch.
Who is the CEO of Microsoft right now? I don't know. I should know
Microsoft, count your days.
that. They own half the video game studios. At
I
this
hope
point.
this letter finds you before I do.
Oh God.
Or should I say this podcast finds you before I do?
But yeah, I think
There's
world
so many
generation
things
would
from
be
Minecraft. I'm sorry. Can I? There are so many
My
things
video is
from
shitting out.
Microsoft.
Sorry, guys.
So many things from Microsoft. Where I'm like, the call is coming from inside the house. We need to fix some things. Minecraft. I'm not
Mhm.
excited for Overwatch for that full acquisition,
I am.
but I don't know.
Microsoft is
That said, they're
purchasing
laying off a ton of employees
Blizzard,
at Activision Blizzard.
Activision Blizzard. You didn't know that?
Activision
Hello?
is purchasing Blizzard now?
Well,
Oh no, no, Activision Blizzard's one company.
Okay, yeah.
yeah,
They're
what are we talking about?
Microsoft had bought Activision Blizzard.
Gotcha.
What was that, like a year ago?
Yeah,
Year and a half ago?
yeah.
They started that?
It's been a while. It was
Yeah.
wasn't it pretty much right after right after Overwatch 2 launched?
Yeah, it was about that.
Because
About that time.
I still think that them releasing Overwatch 2 how and when they did was part of that. Was that they knew that that was probably going to happen
Maybe. The
and they wanted to get a new game out. That's my thought that had to do on the timeline.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see what's going on with that because Microsoft just announced that they're laying off. I think it was like 500 employees from Activision Blizzard, and I don't know if that's a
What games? What games are we going to
idea.
have? God.
It was funny though because the article that I read it in
Are
was
you
also
there,
like,
guys?
oh yeah, Activision Blizzard is also the company that's making Microsoft money at this point.
I'll buy that Hearthstone battle pass every season.
I'll be getting that battle pass every
I'm
time they
getting all
come
those
out
bad
with one.
passes. They got good. I'm not gonna lie. For a fucking auto battler, an 8v8 auto battler, the battle pass cosmetics are kind of lit.
They
Should
sure as
recenter on
shit
our
better than
topic.
Overwatches.
I think it's apples to oranges at that point, to be honest.
You mean like price versus what you're getting?
No, just like the games are so incredibly different. Like it's hard to compare a level 70 battle pass Ash skin to a hero portrait change
I was more
or a
talking like
bartender
a
change.
$40 skin versus a $20 battle pass.
Oh no, no, I was comparing the battle passes.
See,
Technically you
fruit.
get
They can be compared.
technically the Overwatch one has far more things in it and you're paying overall less money. And it gives you the opportunity to earn half of that cost back. Whereas the Hearthstone one is $20 every time for less
Better be.
things. But
Don't
also,
ever change it.
I'm kind of okay at Hearthstone and I'm dog shit at Overwatch. So I gotta look good when I hit that NA leaderboard this season.
That's true. Play to your strengths.
True.
Play to your strengths.
Refocusing on AI though, I think
Yeah.
the generation, like world generation, could be something that's really really interesting.
Yeah.
Taco, did you happen to play No Man's Sky at all?
Yeah.
And I heard that the generation in that game, at least initially, was a little rough.
It was very lackluster.
Yeah.
It still is.
Granted, the game I know has had a million updates and it's way better than it was.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's exactly the type of game where it's like, oh, you could take
No, it's a legit
AI
game
generation
now.
and like really get something cool out of it.
I hate to say it, but had it released at the current state it's at now, it may have beaten or been at like competing with Minecraft. Because Minecraft still has 122 million active users.
I heard 160 like 2 days ago, but point being, it's a 15.
I'm going based off the corridor video, and that was from June of 24. Was when they got that information. They said it was like 122 or 133 million active users.
Either way, I can't think of any other game that's 15 years old that has over 100 million users.
Hell no. It's hard to find games that are 5 years old that have over 1 million active users.
Yeah. Oh god, what's the game that just came out on PlayStation? Concord, right?
Concord?
Yeah. Is that what it is?
I don't know.
Did you not hear about this?
No.
They released the game, it was $40, and their player base was so small, they just were like, yeah, we're yanking live support. And refunding everybody.
They be doing that a lot nowadays. Did you hear
We should do
Hell-
we should
Helldivers.
just sit down and do a whole topic on that one. Because
Helldivers
that is
is
a
up
whole
for
nother episode in and
nomination.
of itself.
Yeah, Helldivers up for nomination for Game of the Year, even though Sony pulled copies in multiple countries across the world.
That's a whole other topic. We will put that on our list because the whole
Yeah.
thing. I think it's called Concord, but like that alone is worth a topic discussion.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, No Man's Sky, like if it had AI world generation, like could have blown that game wide open. I'm really curious to see if like Star Citizen decides to put that in. That's another one of those games that's just massive.
Star Citizen.
That said, Star Citizen is also just never going to be out officially.
No, Star Citizen is something else. What's the other big one? What's the big one that just came out from
EVE Online?
Microsoft? No. It wasn't Star Citizen. It was the other one. It's the big space game that just came out from Microsoft like last year.
Starfield.
Starfield. Yeah.
My boyfriend
It's
played
another
the shit
interesting
out of that.
Yeah, that's another interesting one because it's like they got some interesting things in there. I like breaking the game, and so finding out that you could build a ship that's just a big square and the enemies can't hit you because they always aim for the center of your ship, and if your center of the ship has nothing, blows my mind. The fact that that was a thought.
We are the Borg. I don't know if I could have said anything more nerdy right then.
No, just wait. We'll do this segment and we'll see how nerdy we really are.
Segment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other last thoughts on AI before we Taco's got a segment he wants to try.
Yeah, maybe if the segments are cool, maybe we can start
AI
doing
is
stuff like that.
scary.
Big
Little bit.
Scary.
I'm
Bring back
hesitantly
board
optimistic.
games.
I'll be so real with you.
Hey, board
Max.
games never left.
I'm gonna
Can
go
someone
ahead.
create more two-person board games? Thank you.
Cribbage
Maybe
exists.
this is just like the flat earther in me speaking, but I don't
Nerdy
think AI is
crochet.
the
I
problem.
have
It's the
enough
people
grandma
controlling it.
hobbies.
I think the scariest part of AI is what people who have access to will use it for. If that makes sense.
In
I
response
think-
to that, I think I'd call it like it is, and I'd say AI is a great tool.
Yes.
And like any tool, it should be treated with the respect that needs to come with it. And that is a
Mhm.
whole
Right.
separate conversation.
Well, that's when you get into ethics and morals and
Baseball
Which we're gonna
bats are
try
super
not to
cool
delve too
for
much into.
American sporting games, but as soon as you use it to commit a sin,
Yeah, there's a
baseball
lot of
bats
that
aren't that
shit.
cool anymore.
Yeah, there's a lot of that shit.
Unless you're in Hotline Miami, then it's kind of dope still. Anyone ever play Hotline
it's-
Miami?
No,
No. I'm
It's a
aware of
lot-
it at least.
That's fair.
it's a lot like everything else in the world. You're constantly at the mercy of other people's decisions,
Yep.
Yeah.
and that's a scary thing because not
All right,
everyone.
That went a little too deep.
operates- No, seriously, I was having
You're
this
right.
conversation on a much smaller scale, such as we were talking about the risks of going parasailing versus going skydiving.
Shit, talk about your risks of going driving.
Well, yeah, like and anything like when you're talking about risk, like you always have to account for the fact that there's always going to be human error, and people are inherently going to make different decisions and operate at a different ethic and moral code than you have. You just have to assume that.
Mhm.
So that's risk you assume every single day. And it's the same thing when it comes to AI or any kind of new technology. You have to understand that while you might use it right, not everybody else will, and that's the risk you assume when you introduce these things. and that's why
Go
it's
off.
scary. And that's why it's scary. Like
Yeah.
that's the core of why it is terrifying,
Mm-hmm.
because there are plenty of people who will use it the right way and it can be used in a really positive and transforming way, and then there's going to be people that don't, and that are going to use it for personal game or just to watch the world burn.
You started this episode saying you don't know nothing
Yeah,
about
I'd
AI.
agree.
Look at you now.
Oh, I still
Look
know
how far
nothing
you've
about
come.
how it actually works. I can talk for length about the socio impacts of it. Please.
The
This is my
whole
liberal
paper.
arts major coming out. Please.
Liberal arts unite.
Paid a lot of money for this education. I might as well fucking use it.
And you'll be paying for it for a long time. Tyler, bring us into your segment. What do you got?
Yeah. This is a new segment that we've never done. If
And we have
segments are
no
cool,
idea what it is.
yeah,
no
they
idea.
have no idea. Zach, you may want to grab your phone for this one so you can pull up Discord without fucking up the recording.
I can try.
Discord?
You certainly can. Yeah.
You're gonna want me to look at our chat.
Knox, you're gonna want to turn your
Like pop this
views
out.
to oh yeah, I forgot you can do that. Hold up.
All right.
Yeah, that's a thing you can do.
Where's the pop out? Pop out.
Bottom right. Next to the
Damn,
full screen.
That's actually, Zach, if you would just set up the recording like that, you'd be able to use Discord still.
I'm on one monitor.
Right. So about that.
Another
Okay,
month, okay? Another month.
let's do we're gonna
The
start
fact
off-
that we're still on a schedule and you're in Alaska is still crazy. So
it's impressive.
It is. We're working hard.
We're gonna start off with some games that I'm hoping. You ever seen those TikToks where it's like things you forgot from like the 90s, like late 90s, early 2000s?
Yeah, with the weird music.
Yeah, or like stuff where it's like you don't quite remember ever experiencing that, but you're like, why does that look so familiar? We're gonna go through some video games that were like that. Anyone remember this video game?
Oh
That's a good-
God. I will
hello.
put pictures up in the video. We gotta describe this for our audio podcast folks, though.
Oh yeah. You're right.
Okay,
Well,
we are
I'll-
standing as Jimmy Neutron, and it looks like a destroyed Krusty Krab.
yes,
Yep.
sir.
And we have-
Nickelodeon Blast, baby.
Yeah, we've got Darcy from the Wild Thornberries, Tommy Pickles from the Rugrats, and oh God,
Party
the Skater
Blast.
Show. What the hell is the Skater Show?
I don't
wasn't me.
remember.
I'm
before
not
my
gonna
time.
remember it.
But y'all remember shit like this, right?
Okay, do you remember?
Yeah, I
but do you
do.
remember the Nickelodeon game that it was like a battle royale? It was like one of the first. Okay. You said wait.
This
Wait.
is it.
This is it.
This is Nickelodeon
No, it's
Party
not.
Blast.
This is yeah.
No, it
Yeah.
had to do with slime. It was a little bit different. No. I
I
remember
think they
playing
had
as
different
the.
ones
I
that
remember
were like,
playing as the cow from Back to the Barnyard.
Oh God.
yeah, well, because they had a ton of different Nickelodeon
That was
characters.
so
Okay,
but that may
okay,
have been a
I'll
little
have
bit
to-
newer.
Otto.
Yeah, I
His
think that
name's
was-
Otto.
Party
I
Blast.
can't remember the name of the show, but his name is Otto.
The cow?
No,
No,
the
the-
kid with the hair.
It's
Oh.
not Kids
Hair.
Next Door, is it?
No. That was Cartoon Network.
Oh, you're right. That was Cartoon Network.
No,
me
I'm
a
pretty sure the
second.
Nickelodeon one I'm thinking about would have been
Alright.
probably 2008, 2009. Maybe 2000.
Interesting.
Rocket
Goddamn.
Power. That was the name of the show.
Rocket Power. Hold on, I'm gonna look up one more thing.
They were all kids who skateboarded and like.
The only
spoof of Santa
skateboarder
Monica.
I know is American Dragon Jake Long.
Oh, you're pre Tony Hawk then.
Oh no, I know Tony Hawk as well. But can you tell me what Tony Hawk looks like? Because nobody I know can.
Yeah, he looks like a generic white dude with buzz cut.
He didn't look like that anymore. They showed him at the Olympics, and I went, "Is that Tony Hawk?"
Well, yeah, he's a little older now.
As my favorite meme is like people running into random generic looking white dudes on the street and taking a picture and be like, "I met Tony Hawk today." Not Tony Hawk.
Oh, people
God.
doing that with what's his name? Frank Ocean. You seen that?
No.
Oh man, people be doing that with Frank Ocean too, and it's fucking hilarious. All right, on to the
It's
next
so
one.
good.
All right, Zach. This is
I'm
one I think
ready.
you'll get as well here. This is real vague. This is real
This
niche.
shit.
3D pinball space cadet.
Holy
When
crap!
I
that
would
is
go
some-
to the computer lab at school and this thing was on the computer, I was
Hell
gonna have a
yeah.
good day.
Uh-huh.
So I learned a fun fact about this game not too long ago.
What's that?
This is actually a demo.
Oh, really?
It is a demo that was
I played the
installed
fuck
on
out of that demo.
98, Windows 98.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
because I remember my grandpa had this.
And they sold it to Microsoft for some ridiculous price. I forget what it was. It was like dollars per license. But as in like $1 per license. But nobody ever realized it was a full game.
No,
They
why
just
would
played
you?
the
This
demo
is
because
the
it
whole
was a
game.
fully functional demo.
This is a whole game.
Yeah.
I could have sat for hours and played this.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's no background or nothing. It was just that black screen with the pinball board.
But the full game
So
had
good.
3 maps, and this was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Who needs the whole game? I got the one map that matters.
And I'm
We got a
pretty sure the
couple here.
developer ended up going bankrupt because of it.
Yeah, I'm sure he fucking did. No one ever bought his game because we all had the free version on
It was a
Windows
whole
98.
company.
That's insane.
Get wrecked.
So,
Be better business people. I don't tell you.
Here's another good one. This is a real niche one. This is throwback to the CD-ROM games. Anyone remember these?
Oh, yeah, I do remember the Jumpstart games.
Yeah.
You think these- okay,
remember
ready
the
for-
Jumpstart games? You had like
Ready
you had
for
Jumpstart
real?
Kindergarten and all that stuff.
Before that, I used to go when I was in daycare, so I would have been pre-kindergarten.
Mm-hmm.
One of the fun things that I went to like an at-home daycare, so we got to do a lot of fun stuff. We would all pile into the minivan, in Linda's minivan, and we'd go to the public library, and you could rent the computers for like 30 minutes at a time
Yep.
and play these games on the big like candy-colored Macs
Yep.
that were at the public library. So I was like I was a gamer at 4, dude. Like I was playing these all the time.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad we all had the same childhood. This is amazing. We're gonna keep going then.
Tyler, how many more do you got? Because
I've got
we're
3
getting close
more.
on time. Okay,
We're
let's
good.
do
This
this.
is
Let's
fun.
go.
These ones will go pretty
This
quick
is
here.
fun.
These are all. Why didn't it drag over?
This is fun.
All right. Anyone remember Hyperbowl?
No.
Oh,
No.
No.
It's like vaguely familiar.
This was the one where this was another Microsoft like 98 one, but
Yeah.
it was a bowling game, but it was almost like a racetrack and you had to drag the mouse up to keep the ball going. And you
so
had to
it's
like avoid different obstacles and stuff like that to get to the pins.
It's the less good predecessor of Wii Bowling.
Yep. We'll got another Microsoft
Can't beat the
one
goat.
here. Anyone remember this?
No.
Ooh, yes, but
Labyrinth?
like that's not one that I.
Well, they had all kinds of different boards, remember?
It's not one that I played. I
Yeah.
recognize it, like I've seen it before.
These were all games like Hyperbowl, Labyrinth, and 3D Space Cadet. Like these were all games that my grandpa had on his computer when I'd go over there after school. This is what I was playing after I finished homework.
Meanwhile, I'm like, can I play solitaire?
Right?
I was a big solitaire player as well.
I like the solitaire.
Finally, we're gonna finish it off. I'm not going to say which one this is. I kind of want you guys to guess. Knox, I feel like you're gonna have a blast with this one. You remember this?
Ooh. This is another one that like I definitely remember. So the image for our audio listeners, it's got a bronze-ish type plate at the top that says Blue Gems.
Oh, I
And then it's
wanted
got
the
a bunch
ocean
of-
sapphire so bad.
It's a bunch of blue gemstone things,
I
but they're in
can
shapes
still
like a
hear his
teardrop and a
voice.
flower and a river and a orb. But there's one
No.
missing.
I'm gonna melt down.
This
Thanks
looks so
to-
familiar, and I can't put my
It's
finger on it.
Webkins.
Yeah.
Oh, is
the,
it?
the gem mining and Webkins. Shout out to Brittany Broski for bringing that shit up this week. She was talking about it, and I
was
was like,
his
"Oh
name?
my god!"
His name. No, I can still
Yep.
hear him. Oh my god.
You know, I totally missed Webkins.
Oh my gosh, you missed so much.
I did Neopets.
Oh man, no, Webkins was child slavery at peak. It was.
It was so
s-
good. It
Go
was
down in the
that
so
damn
Minecraft
mines
still
only
good.
to get
exists.
slag
It
all
was
day.
so good. Give me a second. I might still be able to get in. A Webkins application is required to play Webkins. What?
Yeah, to play Webkins Classic, I already looked it up tonight. Yeah, you have to like download the actual application now. It's
All
no
right.
longer web based.
Fuck.
Gonna
Fine.
come back to a bunch of starving Webkins.
Oh, they're all gonna be dead, dude. I
So
had a
while
ton
Knox
of
is,
them too.
Yeah. Yep.
so while Knox is downloading Webkins, we should probably do our real world segment.
Yeah.
Taco, thank you for bringing that. I like that. That was
Yeah,
fun.
that was fun. We should do more segments.
Do you have a name for that?
For that segment?
Yeah.
No. Off the top of my head, nostalgia.
If anybody has any thoughts on what we should call it, or if you like it or dislike it, leave us a note in the doobly doo.
Heck yeah, there you go. Give us some comments. Give us that interaction. You know,
You're not supposed to tell them that.
Well, we got to be transparent.
Oh
with our
gosh, she got
audience.
in. The screen went blue. Well, Knox won't be sleeping tonight.
I got in. Where's
You have
my
a pair of
She's gonna be
sunglasses.
showing
Can
her
you just do the
boyfriend all of her
Matrix right now?
Webkins and stuff
I'm
like that.
in.
And she's like, if 10-year-old me could see me now.
Please.
I know Kung Fu.
I want you all to know. Can I tell you what I opened the game to?
What?
Real quick. This is important. So the fact that I remembered my username and password is
That's
insanity.
pretty impressive.
Yeah.
It also tells you that I have not changed my password in 14 years.
Security, A+.
Oh my god.
There's been different variations. I remembered the base start though.
See, that's where mine is. I know that mine's at the base start of my password.
So you have a house in Webkins, right?
Mhm.
You get to design your house. Mine open to the outside part of my house, which is my backyard. And I might have put a trampoline out for my Webkins. My dog Silver Mist has been jumping on the trampoline for like a decade straight.
Oh
Just
my
trying to burn off that
gosh.
energy.
I cannot wait. I couldn't see Discord. I couldn't see my camera when I got in. I cannot wait to see that footage. Oh
Oh,
my
that's gonna be a
god.
YouTube short.
Oh
Don't you worry
my
about it.
god. I'm gonna lose my mind. Okay.
Oh man.
Real world. Wrap it up. We'll try and get to our
Yeah.
end.
Pushing the hour limit now.
Yeah. So for those not familiar, our real world segment is where we talk about things that are going on in our life that might be related to video games, may not be related to video games, but it's things that are just happening in our lives. It's a moment for us to talk about other things that interest us. Music we're listening to, movies we're watching, books we're reading, things that are just general. Knox.
Yeah,
Other than
I can
Webkins.
start. Other than Webkins, I've got two little things. One, I've been crocheting a lot, as I know I've talked about, I think, on our recent ones. I've started a new project, one of my many works in progress right now.
Did you
But
finish
someone
Opera?
on. No, he still doesn't have legs.
No.
Poor guy.
He's
Sorry,
still,
he's a sky bison. He don't need legs.
he's still legless. He's got one leg right now.
He don't got a leg to stand on.
But someone on TikTok gave me the idea of making a granny square of the colors of every book cover of book I read, and turning it
Oh,
into a
that's fun.
large blanket. So I've gotten a start on that, and I've got like 7 of them done. So they all look like this. So like
Nice.
Crescent
Oh.
City and Powerless and A Little Life and Iron Flame, Akatar, Throne of Glass, Crown of Midnight, things like that. So they're all gonna get sewn together into a blanket at some point. I've done the math. I need about 56 squares. I don't think I've read 56 books in the last year, so we're working on that, and I'll slowly get to it. But speaking of books, my slump hopefully is over, and I'm actually reading again. I picked up Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. which has been long on my TBR probably since I've gotten back into like book talk and reading. I've heard
Mhm.
nothing but good things about it. They finally came out with a paperback copy and it's got blue edges, which like I'm gonna buy it.
Gotta get them
um,
colored edges.
yeah, it looks really pretty. That and I've got one more thing. Sorry, I'll talk fast. It's very, very good. It's about two individuals and it centers around them, their lives, and their video game design. So highly recommend. So far, I'm about a quarter of the way through it. If you know of Little Life and like the pacing of it and how it was more of a walkthrough of somebody's life in different parts, that's the same way that this book is set up. It's nothing like Little Life, though. Thank God.
I was gonna say no
Um,
more trigger warnings, right?
no. But like, same thing where there's different parts of their lives, and it very much like different. Like the person who is the third person narrator, so your omniscient narrator, will be following parts of their lives in the present, and then bring in like a paragraph tidbit about something that happened in the past or something that's going to happen in the future. So it's very fun to kind of piece together. Of like, there's a part where it's like the two characters are getting along and being really productive, and then they'll mention something about how Sadie's character doesn't talk about this moment anymore 30 years down the road because of what happened, but you don't know what happened, kind of thing.
Have you ever
Um,
read Kurt Vonnegut?
no,
We'll talk later.
sounds good. And then my last final thing, for my fantasy readers out there, I know there's none of you, but if you know fantasy, there is a subscription box site called Fairy Loot that is infamous for its waiting list. I joined the waiting list early November of 2023. As of 3 weeks ago, I'm off the waiting list for the 2 book combo, so now I get to spend $50 a month, and I get shipped 2 special edition fantasy books, one YA and one adult. So I am so stoked. My first one is coming soon, and I've been doing some good in terms of my expanding my collection of special editions. It's been a very, very fruitful time. I've been able to expand that quite a bit recently. So,
Nice.
Tyler.
Yeah. So the biggest thing that has happened to me is for those of you who are listening and read manga / watch anime. I know there's none of you out there hanging out with Nox's sci-fi fans. Or
Fantasy.
fantasy fans.
Hey, there's none of them there yet.
Hey, listen.
Someday.
Aliens could be fantasy. You know, it's kind of like a science fantasy. Little Smiley Friends reference. Anyway, to basically commemorate the ending of Jujutsu Kaisen, I went and got my first tattoo. It looked
That's your
horrific 'cause I
first
just took the
tattoo?
bandage. Yeah. So, fun little story I wanted to share. I learned just how indecisive I am because it was a flash sale tattoo that I was like, you know what, I want to get this and make it a bigger piece later down the road. And so I was telling the guy, I was like, I want it on my right arm. So he shaved my right arm. It's gonna be hard for the viewers, but he shaved my right arm up here by my elbow. And then when he started laying it down, he goes, "How did you want it?" And then I told him, and he goes, "That ain't gonna work." And I went, "Yeah, I'm realizing that now. It's facing the wrong way. It's like mirrored wrong." So then he shaved the upper part of my left arm so we could do it. And then when I started telling him what I wanted, he goes, "That's gonna be impossible for me to line up." And he goes, "Trust me, let me do it. Put it right here below your wrist." And
It's gonna hurt more.
yeah. Everyone I showed it to went, "You made your first tattoo an under wrist tattoo? Like that's so painful." It actually didn't hurt that bad, so I learned my pain
Good.
tolerance is pretty high. It was just more annoying than anything. Still didn't look at it because I know that if I look at needles, I will pass out because that's what happens
Really?
every time. Yeah, every
It
time.
doesn't
Like
really look like a needle, to be
I
honest.
know, but just the thought of like the needles breaking skin and stuff like that. Like when I was getting my blood drawn one time, I was like, you know, I've done this 100 times or whatever, you know, like I've had different like, you know, shots and stuff like that. I wonder what it looks like. And I looked and watching the blood leave my arm and go up the tube, out like a light bulb. And I just remember the nurses like holding me up, like fanning me with a box of apple juice in my face.
Huh.
Good
That
for
was
sugar.
crazy. So
Get the
I
blood
wasn't
sugar
about to.
back up.
I
Yeah,
always
I
find
wasn't.
that fascinating because there's some people you don't expect it from.
No, and I'm like usually fine with it. I will say though, like I know that like like body horror films and stuff like that kind of get me. They make me cringe. So that makes sense to me, I guess. Is that like something like that is gonna like ick me out? Yeah. Watching it to another person, totally fine.
But
Me
just if it's your own.
seeing it in that first person knocks me out.
Huh.
Yeah.
I used to hate needles when I was younger, and then I learned how to go donate blood every other week. Not blood, plasma.
Yeah, make money.
You learn pretty quickly
No, I didn't
to
make
not
any
be
money off of it.
scared
Oh.
of them.
I also
I
just did it to be a
donate,
good
donate
person.
plasma for like
Yeah.
the next 2 months.
Yeah, you do plasmapheresis.
Yeah,
That's 2 needles.
No, I
Yeah,
mean like
plasma.
you can't
No,
donate
yeah,
plasma
yeah,
after
no,
a
no,
tattoo.
you can't.
Yeah.
No, you
No,
can't.
you can't donate blood either.
Yeah.
2 months is actually pretty short. It's usually 6.
Yeah.
Piercings, it's 6 to 10.
I
Depending
think
on
it's
which
for
one you
plasma.
get.
It's 2 months. I'm going based off of what Himboa has told me.
It,
he
it also
donates plasma.
depends on your
Oh,
plasma
it depends on the
site.
state. Depends on
Right.
who your donor is.
Yeah, when you have to go through the questionnaire when you get there every single time. Have you had a tattoo in the last? Have you left the country in the last 6 months? Have you been? You know.
Yeah.
The
I've had to
casual
have conversations
questions.
with them about how much time I've spent outside the country, because that
Yeah.
comes up and they get a little worried sometimes.
Certain vaccines,
Mhm.
certain medications you take.
Yep.
But yeah, first tattoo. I knew that life isn't GTA, so I can't just change it out for a new one, which was really hard for me to mentally overcome.
Yeah.
So I kind of just did it on a whim. Friday the 13th tattoo special.
No way that can go wrong.
So it'll be cool, but it's a Jujutsu Kaisen, so it's hard to show on camera, but
Yeah,
it's
it's got the curve to it,
Megami's.
but
It's upside down too. But yeah, it's gonna go all the way up to my elbow when we're done with it. So
we're gonna see if I get my first one. There's people in this Discord server who have possibly talked me into it.
Snowflake.
Yeah.
I'm conceptualizing my
Zach will
second
talk
one
about after.
currently.
Yeah. Mine's kind of weird. I was trying to think of what to talk about because, like, I don't want to say I don't have a life up here. I do. It's just mostly work related. I had something come up that's slightly less work related though, where I'm working on editing something for a friend, and there was an interesting thing that I came across that I have not been able to find anywhere on the internet. Taco, I know you really enjoy the Corridor Crew
Yes.
and VFX. And Nox, we've talked about the Corridor Crew and the VFX today. So there's all these different aspects into what goes into VFX and what constitutes it. And there's one thing, or there's a whole bunch of. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to do background replacement, which is something that is very well understood. There's a million different ways you can do it. However, I'm trying to do it on footage that was shot underwater.
Well, good luck with that.
I can't find anything on Google about it. There's nobody who has any tips or tricks about it.
You always add the water afterwards
Mm-hmm.
if you're in that scenario.
But I know they've done it because that's how like Avatar and stuff was shot.
Yeah. Have you seen the breakdowns on how Avatar was shot?
Yeah. Yeah, here's like 6 different wipes where we still have part of a person and then half of them disappears and then there's 20 more wipes and then
Yeah.
oh yeah,
the
and there's our
footage
shot.
of the actors in the water was reference footage basically. It became full CGI at the end of it. Which, speaking of
Just
which,
put a digidouble in there, it'll be easier.
You're not on as much, so I haven't been able to rant to anyone about this. Have you seen the Saturday Night Live skit where they talk about papyrus?
No.
The Avatar. Oh my god, it's a whole thing. You should go watch it.
Oh yes, yes, I have. I have seen that.
The Avatar logo is just papyrus, and then the Avatar 2 logo is just papyrus in bold. Oh my god, I have to be annoying my girlfriend just walking around going, Avatar logo's papyrus in bold. Avatar logo's papyrus in bold.
But it's been a really interesting challenge to try and figure this out. I've been slowly figuring out what I want to do, or at least something close to it. And I've been able to figure out how to do most of it without rotoscoping, which is even more
Interesting.
Nox, do you know what rotoscoping is?
You lost me a long time ago.
Okay, so
You lost
rotoscoping
me
is
at
when you go
papyrus.
through.
Before that, way before that.
Rotoscoping is when you go through every single frame and you manually draw out
No.
every
The
single.
outline. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
AI's got
Yeah,
whatever
you
good
lost
where
me
can
when you
do
were
it
like,
as
remember
well.
when we talked about this one thing? And I was like, uh-huh. Just when you
But
watch
yeah.
this back, just watch the light drain from my eyes. Of just like,
I was watching it as we were talking. It was very interesting seeing it live.
Yeah, it's been a fun challenge though. I'm getting there. I'm slowly
awesome.
getting there.
Nice.
It's a really just bizarre thing to try and figure out because I can't find anything about it online.
Mm-hmm.
I also just like it's the bottom of a pool, so it's just like the most nondescript flat surface. It's like I need something to track. There's nothing.
Nope.
Good luck.
That's awful.
But I'm slowly getting there. If I manage to do it without rotoscoping, I'm gonna be so happy. Because
That'd be
rotoscoping
impressive.
just takes too long.
Yeah. It's gotten better.
Oh, it's definitely way better than it used to be, but it's
Mhm.
still such a tedious process, and it's one of those things you do it wrong, and a good mat nobody notices. A bad mat everybody notices and says that's crappy CGI.
Yep. Like not to drag it on, this will probably get cut, but the Deadpool's sword going through Wolverine's bicep.
we haven't been able
I
to
still
see
haven't
the
seen it.
movie.
Oh, well,
That
it's
said, I'm not exactly shocked that the two of them are stabbing each other.
no. It wasn't it was literally like at the end of like a fight, and like Deadpool goes to put his sword away, and the CGI, like you clearly see his sword go through the CGI arm of Wolverine. And now, that's like the only thing that people have caught that's bad CGI in the movie, and
It's so
everyone is
hard.
running with it. But no one caught it the
artists
first
deserve
2
more
months
respect
it
than
was
they
out.
get. Just
So,
point blank.
yeah. But anyway,
Thank you everyone for joining us today.
yeah.
We hope you enjoyed our discussion. We release these episodes weekly. If that's not often, if you click the link down in the doobly-doo, come join the Discord server. We are here way too often. If you have any ideas, you have your thoughts you want to share with us, or you just think we sound like a cool group of people, click the link, join us. Like I said, we're here way too much. Taco, Knox, thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you.
Always.
I'm
I'm gonna go play Webkins now.
Thank you to our listeners for joining us, and we'll hope to catch you in the next one. Bye.
Bye. Tyler, put your other fucking hand up. Or I'll
Fuck
kill
you. We'll do the tattooed arm now.